Beloved, welcome back to the shop. In today's video, we're going to be putting together a U.S. Forest Service style or professional logger style falling belt. Now, my son Jack is just red carded and will be doing wildland firefighting for the first time this season. And he's also going to be attending S212, which is the Sawyer class. So he will be chainsaw qualified. So I thought to send him on his way properly, I would put together all the components that he would need for a first-time Sawyer. The foundation, the backbone of everything, of course, will be the belt. We'll start with that. And I'm going to use the same belt that I've used for my own personal faller's belt, which is made up in Idaho by our friends at Grizzly Peak Enterprises. I'll put a link to those. They're good people, a family-ran business that cater to this sort of thing. I think it's nice to have something that is going to last, something that's functional, and this is my favorite faller's belt for this design. You've got a whole bunch of aluminum grommets in there. The aluminum is nice because it's lightweight. This gives you the ability to attach a lot of the different things that you'll need, and a lot of things that we use are clipped on, dangler style, fallers, tapes, that sort of thing. And this will weather and patina with time. If he takes care of it, this will last him a long time. So I wanted to do something kind of special. I went on eBay and found a really cool vintage steel buckle that I thought we would replace the factory one. I've always ran the factory one. It's nothing fancy, nothing wrong with it, but if we're going to have something that's going to be kind of cool and unique to him, I thought we'd do that. So let's start by drilling this out and we'll get this installed. Another reason to get rid of a buckle that is metal is because you want something that's non-ferrous, meaning something that's not magnetic. Magnetic affects compasses, and soldiers and firefighters rely upon compasses a lot. That's why soldier buttons are always brass or a non-ferrous material. This is all bronze aluminum, so nothing here is going to affect negatively. You can see there, right there, that does have a little bit of metal on it. So maybe not a big deal so much with GPSs, but something to consider. And then a burr. Cut off the excess and then use the round part of your ball peen, and it'll give you a nice little domed head. So far, so good. This style of buckle, you've got a nice pass-through for your tail. Very quick, easy off and on, which is nice for a faller's belt because you are tending to take it off when you get into vehicles and such. The first thing we're going to add to Jack's faller's belt is going to be choosing an axe and scabbard. Now, this is my personal one here. This is a Grizzly Peak Enterprise aluminum axe scabbard. This is my favorite way to go. I've used this for years this way, and there's a lot of guys you'll see, especially in the timber industry, that use these because it rides off of your dominant hand, and you can essentially sheathe and unsheathe the axe with one hand. Because you're working, you reach around, you can grab it, you can knock off limbs. I find it to be very, very useful, and it's not very intrusive if you choose the right size axe. Now, for Jack's, I thought about a couple different things. He's going to be a new sawyer. He may or may not use this. I'm putting this together for him, and he'll have to tailor it according to what his needs are. This is just some things that have worked for me that he can add or subtract or use or not use accordingly. If you're going to buy one of these, I would buy this one here. Now, Grizzly Peak Enterprises up in Idaho make these beautiful tools, small handmade business. I'm not affiliated. I've just been using them for a long time, and I want to give them some love. They have a version that is designed for the steel axe. It's a very common axe that you're going to see at all steel dealerships. It's a heavy-duty axe, and it's really good for this type of work because it's got some weight in the pole. Now, I don't have one of those, but what I'm going to send with Jack is Oshkenkamp. You know, this is a German-made, basically a very similar version of the still, and you can see that it does fit in here nicely. Now, this is a great axe because German-made, very high quality, a lot of weight in it, a big, thick, robust handle, typical German built. This is going to be something, if someone's not really super careful, they can beat on things, that this is not going to fail him, and he'll be able to, you can do some heavy work with this. With the axe and scabbard sorted, I worked up Jack a scrench tool with the old logger mod on here. I learned this from an old firefighter on a fire where he took his scrench tool, put a cotter pin in it and a big brass buckle or latch on there so you don't lose it. The forest taketh everything, and if it's not tied down, you will lose it. And you're not effective if you don't have this tool. This is the tool you need to keep your saw up and running, changing chains, bars, etc. So I worked one up for Jack, and these big brass buckles are nice because they can clamp right into the belt, and that will be there. This is also dangling and moving around, so if you jump into a truck, it's not going to poke a hole in the seat. If you fall on it, it's more likely to move out of the way than something that's hard mounted that's going to stick you or get into your, hurt you, get you injured. The third and final thing we're going to add to Jack's belt is going to be a way to carry a wedge pack. Now, this is my carrier right here. It carries 3 or 4 of the full-size wedges. I'm a lot more experienced faller than him, and he's not going to get into a situation, especially his first year, where he's going to need anything like this. And I thought that it was kind of silly to have to pack this around if you're not actually using them. So for a smaller, lightweight version, what I went with is with a couple of the smaller wedges. When you're a first-time firefighter, even if you've passed the course and you're on the fire ground training, they're not going to put a saw in your hand. They're going to probably put you with an experienced sawyer to act as a swamper, basically pulling brush and stuff out of his way so that you can learn it. And by working alongside of him, you'll learn the skill, and then he can eventually move up and alter his belt accordingly if he needs it. But to be a good swamper, you want to have tools on hand to support your sawyer. So even if he's not sawing or felling things or actively needing wedges, having a small wedge pack handy on his belt, if need, he can put them in an area, and you find uses for them all the time. So what I went with is a small Grizzly Peak Enterprises aluminum wedge pack. This is a very clever design. Now this is a smaller one. They come with bigger ones if you want to put a double stack of big wedges in, but if you're just kind of professional homeowner grade and just this is adequate for you, these are perfect because they go in there and they're retained. They won't come out, they don't rattle, very, very lightweight and small, won't get in your way. Let's set it up here. This is how I do it. So I'll start up here on the left side with the scrunch tool and then file your wedge pack on. Right there, that'll sit off the left hip. That way you can grab your axe with your right hand and a wedge with the left hand at the same time and work very fast and efficiently. And then off of the left hip, if you're right-handed, or the right hip, excuse me, will be your axe sheath. Here it is kind of all put together. Now, of course, you tailor these according to your needs. As a first-time or a young sawyer, this would be something that would work for him. It's not going to overburden him. It's not going to be too heavy. It's very, very lightweight because of all the aluminum and the aluminum rivets and such, but it will give him the ability to be really helpful to his sawyer. He'll have a tool on hand. If he needs it, he'll have a couple small wedges that are not going to burden him down and a small tool that he could add or subtract. Now, things are going to be added to this. If you get into the position where you're working as a sawyer, you're going to need to add some things to this. One thing that I would consider adding, that I got for him as well, is going to be a saw file option. This, of course, is made by Grizzly Peaks as well. This is really clever design made out of water pipe, and what it gives you is the ability to safely keep your file in a way where it's not going to, if you fall on it, it's not going to hurt you. These are difficult to store, and it's nice to have them on hand. I hate to have to stop what I'm doing when I want to touch up a tooth really quickly and have to dig into a pack. So this threads in the female adapter. It has that dangling style, which is very nice in that it doesn't catch up on you. When you're working in the forest, with all the sticks and the branches, you just don't want things hanging you up and getting caught up. And this dangling design seems to help a little bit with that. So now there's only one last thing to do, and that is to treat the leather belt with Obenaufs. Obenaufs is my preferred leather protectant, something that every professional homeowner should have in their arsenal. This is made up in Idaho by a special proprietary super secret method, and it's a wonderful treatment for a leather. This was designed for wildland firefighter boots, and it is beautiful stuff. If you use this on your leather, sheaths, knife sheaths, axe sheaths, leather goods, boots, your leather will last a long, long time. You remember that unlike a lot of the things that we work with, materials that are synthetic, leather is skin. And skin is only kept soft and supple because of the oils, the fats that is produced by the cow or the calf. And over time, as you're using it, dust and dirt and sweat and oil, it leaches all that out of, all those oils out, and the leather will dry and crack. There's no need for that. You can simply apply this once a year or so, and it will keep your leather much softer, much more supple. If you use it on your leather gloves, it will make them break in much, much quicker, and it just is something that you should learn to do and just kind of get in the habit of doing. That looks a lot better. Now, if you contrast Jack's with mine, these both started off the same color, and mine is just darkened that patina over years and years of use. Very soft, supple. This will last the rest of my life because I protect it and keep that Obenaufs on there, and Jack's will look the same way in many years. And that is about the size of it. Kind of an entry-level, basic faller's kit that would work for any of you, especially if you guys cut firewood. It's a handy thing to have everything within your grasp, within your reach when you're working. Just makes things much more efficient. Kind of fun to have the special belt buckle. You know, I like to keep things, and it's nice to have tools that work well with you, that are made of quality, that you just tend to get attached to them when you've reached for something and you've been able to depend upon it, and it's helped you in difficult situations, help you to do your work. You get kind of attached and fond to it. So putting something together that's going to last, be with you, that you could hand down, I think it's worth doing. It's important to me. All right, that's it. The Wildland Firefighting Faller's Belt for my son. May God bless you and your families. Please keep us in your prayers, and we'll see you all on the next video.